Hello and welcome to the summer pickup video, the end of summer pickup video here for Fargo Retro. My name is Eric from Fargo Retro here. And I'm going to be showing you off some of the stuff that I got this summer. These are kind of, you may have seen some of this stuff posted or even kind of covered in a little video or posted on my Instagram or whatever. But I just figured I'll go a little in-depth into what we purchased here over the end of the summer. So I'm going to start off with things I'm going to plan on reselling. I personally am not a big fan of reselling. I don't try to engage in it too much, but that's just kind of the nature of the beast, unfortunately. A lot of times you can only get really good deals, quote unquote, when you buy in a lot. And so oftentimes you'll end up with some doubles or duplicates just to, secure a couple items you really wanted. So some of the other things I'll be selling is just that I do not have the consoles for, you'll see here, and all that. So we'll start off here with the items that I picked up I thought were really cool, but unfortunately I don't have a place for in my home. Start off with a Sega Nomad here. A Sega Nomad's really cool. It is a handheld Sega Genesis. It has AV out. It also has a second controller port, so, player one can play on this, and you hook a Sega Genesis controller up, and your buddy can play with you. I already have a Sega Nomad, so this one I will end up reselling here. And the next couple items, found the complete Game Boy Final Fantasy collection here. Final Fantasy Adventure, Final Fantasy Legend 1, 2, and 3. In that same lot, I got a Pokemon Blue here. I will be going onto this guy's thing on the N64, Pokemon Stadium. I'll be pulling off all of his good Pokemon, and they will be mine. So that's how that goes, and then this will probably re-hit the market here in town. I got Final Fantasy 3, a nice copy. Oh, I will resell this, even though this is nicer than my copy of Final Fantasy 3. My Final Fantasy 3 is my original, and I don't necessarily need a showpiece one at this time. I got a extra copy of Donkey Kong Country 3. My copy is a Player's Choice Million Sold version. I'm not too worried about label variants and anything like that at this point in my career. Some GameCube games that, again, we'll be reselling here. The Sonic Mega Collection. Looks like that has at least 7 Sonic games on it. We also have a Splinter Cell Pandora's Tomorrow and Super Mario Sunshine. So we'll be also putting those on the market here in town online before too long. Found some great PlayStation RPGs here. The Final Fantasy Anthologies is a little beat up, but it's missing the book and the music disc. The Ogre Battle, I think, is missing. I think it's just the disc. It's the disc in the book, but no map or extras. Both excellent titles if you're looking for JRPGs. So last couple things here. I don't have a TurboGrafx 16. I attempted to get one, through an auction here recently, and it was too expensive. But I got some of the accessories on that auction that didn't get picked up. So I got this Turbo Tap, which allows for up to 5 players playing on a TurboGrafx 16 here with this Turbo Tap, complete in box here. And we also got 2 TurboGrafx 16 arcade sticks. Again, I really wanted the TurboGrafx 16. I would have, kept it if I won it. But I did not win it. It went up actually pretty much there was a Turbo Duo. My understanding, the pricing on that is $1,000. So I went up to about $300 on that, and then I couldn't justify spending any more. So I stopped. I tapped out at about $300. Otherwise, the TurboGrafx 16 was just a regular console or whatever. I swear the guy took it up to like $180, and I think that's above retail. So that's just, that's how it goes, huh? So lastly, I don't know if I'll be reselling this, but I got a controller here. It's called a Quick Shot. I have the wired version. Doing a little research, it looks like it can also be used wirelessly. I did not see that in the bundle I got. So I don't know if I'll be keeping this or not. It looks like, I don't know, Sega Master System maybe. Yeah, Sega Master System is what it looks like it's for. So yeah, so those will be the items I will probably be reselling. But let's go ahead and get to the main event here, which is the stuff that's making it into the collection. I got quite a bit of stuff here. Some of this you may have seen before. I will do my best to only talk about stuff that hasn't been featured before. I'm going to start off with some Game Boy games. I got some cool Game Boy stuff here. Again, at that same Fargo nerdy garage sale thing that Paradox held, that's where I got a lot of this stuff here. I got a lot of these games bundled pretty well. Functionally 2 games for $1 is about what the price was. So I've got Ms. Pac-Man here. Mickey's Dangerous Chase, Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3, a little, in the Game Boy damage on the label. I love it. I got Pokemon Silver. This one was like $5 or $10 separate, but I'm keeping it. It was priced accordingly with some of those other bigger ones, but yeah, keeping that one. Super Return of the Jedi. Looks like a lot of fun. It looks like it plays on it has extra features that would be available to it on the Super Game Boy, which is for the Super Nintendo. Space Invaders, which seems to also have that. And lastly, Contra, the Alien Wars, which is real cool. I didn't know this game existed. It also looks to have Super Game Boy features, which is pretty cool. Some of the books were available for those as well. I got 102 Dalmatians, which is actually, I don't know where that is. I would be reselling that one as well. Mickey's Dangerous Chase, which I'll probably keep here. Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3, pretty good quality there. Ms. Pac-Man, keep that. And Final Fantasy Legend 3. So you obviously saw that I got that book. This is really cool. This I remember my dad buying for me just before Pokemon came out in the fall of '98. It was before Pokemon. I was really on the Pokemon hype train. It was one of the first video games I was really hyped for. My dad bought me a Game Boy Pocket, and then he bought me Final Fantasy Legend 3 with it at the same time. It's probably been, very early October, '98. So before the Game Boy Color and all that came out. But yeah, I played a ton of Final Fantasy Legend 3. It's very excellent. Cannot recommend it highly enough. Power Quest, an F1 race. I don't remember where I picked. I think those might have been at that same place as well. Power Quest looks fun. It looks to be some sort of Atlas RPG for the Game Boy, which is really cool. I got T2 as well. Looks like it has some multiplayer component to it. I got Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers and Kingdom Hearts 2 for the Game Boy Advance. And I got this separately. Got this somewhere else. Tales of Fantasia for the GBA. I'm pretty excited to play that. I got this DS game. I picked this up quite a while ago. It was on my Instagram or whatever, but it is another Atlas RPG. It's called Master of the Monster Lair. Looks to be sort of a Dungeon Keeper / Harvest Moon sort of crossover. So, looks real cool. On a local auction site, got a new Game Boy player case. I already have one of these bad boys. But this one's higher quality, much higher quality. So we'll open this up here. Boop. And in this, we have Donkey Kong, Tetris. Okay, kept very fantastic care of this. This is all very excellent. Wave Race. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Fall of the Foot Clan. Oh, and it looks like he's got some codes and stuff in the back there. That's pretty cool. Super RC Pro-Am. Double Dribble, 5-on-5. Fantastic. Jeep Jamboree. And lastly, TMNT2 Back from the Sewers. Fantastic. Also came with a Light Boy. Just a fantastic looking Game Boy, and the power pack for the Game Boy, the sort of remote battery. So, just put this bad boy, leave it like this. If I ever go on vacation, just grab this and off I go, right? We'll go through some PlayStation stuff. We'll start with PS4. I haven't opened this yet, it's still sealed, but I got the Steelbook Final Fantasy XII, the Zodiac Age, limited edition. What's frustrating is I bought this off of Amazon. It didn't have multiple listings. This is the EU version. As far as I can tell, it's the same game. The only difference is it has more options and localizations for the vocal track. As long as it's are US English and not like British English or something weird, I'm probably going to play this. If not, I will look to maybe trade it or get rid of it. I also got Trails of Cold Steel. This is one of those school-based JRPGs. And Dragon Crown by Atlas. I'm really excited to play in this. This is a beat 'em up. I got a different game that I thought was this. I think Odin Sphere I thought was this, but this is what I was talking about when I was talking about Odin Sphere. So Dragon Crown. Looking forward to those. PlayStation 1, I got this at a garage sale. Siberia with the long box book. Looks to be a space fighter game, so I'm a big fan of those. Hello. So looks like we ran into a little storage issue, not just with the games, but with the recording of the video. Looks like it cut out about halfway through, which is fine. Looks like I had some lighting issues anyway, so we're hoping to get those corrected here. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue the video here. We left off just finishing the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4. So we'll take a look at the PlayStation 2 games that we got here. AC/DC Live. Looks like, gotta take those Rock Band soundtrack packs because I play so much Rock Band. I got Baldur's Gate, Dark Alliance here. Greatest Hits. Fantastic game. Had it on the Xbox as a kid. Spawn Armageddon. This looks like a really, nice case, good production value. Hopefully a fun game. Army Men Green Rogue. Hey, we'll give it a shot here. I got all those for under $2.50. My kind of rule of thumb is if game's under $5, it's in play. So we got God of War here, PlayStation 2. I did not pay $5 for that there. I think I picked that up $1 at a garage sale as well. I did not have that complete box for whatever reason, so going ahead and add that to the collection here. This is the second time I've shot this video now, so I apologize for any discrepancies due to that. I already ran through this. I ran through the whole box and it cut out about halfway through. I'm very frustrated with that. So we'll go on to the GameCube games here. Got a lot here. The reason I purchased a lot was to get this. Mario Kart Double Dash. I did not have a copy of this complete in box. I had just the loose game. I bought a GameCube that had it in there, which was nice, but I've upgraded that and got rid of my other loose copy. We've got World Series of Poker here. A lot of my friends when we were in high school were super into poker. I enjoyed it as well, but just kind of watching it, I didn't like to play or anything like that. And then Call of Duty, Big Red 1 for the GameCube. Again, gotta get these games, right? PlayStation 1 games, in addition to that Siberia, we also had Thousand Arms, which is an Atlas JRPG I'm really looking forward to. You are a weaponsmith, but you're also a young man who wants to date, and you can get different upgrades based on the women you date for the weapons you make in the game, which is pretty fun. So, RPG, Crafter, Harvest Moon-esque. Xenogears. My friend Jeremy was a big fan of this back in the day. A Squaresoft RPG. Excellent game. Prequel to the Xenosaga series. And then Brave Fencer Musashi, which is like an action RPG here. But a lot of people will know of that as the game that had the demo for Final Fantasy VIII before anything else. Got a couple of N64 games. We'll start it off with GoldenEye. I got that CIB here. The box is pretty roughed up, but once you get a box protector, it's really hard to tell. The box was looking really rough otherwise, but in there it looks really nice. Wipeout 64. Top Gear Overdrive for the 64. I'm really enjoying the Top Gear series for the Super Nintendo. I have one for I think I have the bike one for the 64 already. And Star Wars. Shadows of the Empire. Great sort of alt original series before the prequels. Side game. A little darker, more gritty. We also got a Game Shark for the 64, which I'm really looking forward to. Using and cheating. All kinds of fun games. For the Super Nintendo, we got Tecmo Super Bowl 3. I never played any of the Super Nintendo versions of this game. But I did have it as a kid for the Nintendo, and I loved it. I played it with my uncle all the time. So I hear this is really excellent. You know, a lot of sports games don't get much credit in the retro, the retro gaming community. There are some good sports games out there if you like sports. There are certain ones that are better. That's one of them. I had a CIB copy of Might and Magic 3. It looks damn near new. I'm very concerned when, I bought it. It looks like it was never opened other than, very unfortunately, I'm concerned that the people that sold it on the auction, it was sealed. They opened it up to make sure everything was in there. Literally looks like it had never been touched. So, Might and Magic 3, Isles of Terra, I got that in a box protector. I know it's kind of weird. I'm turning 30 this year. I'm kind of thinking I'm going to give it to Sarah, have her hit it with a vacuum seal maybe, and give it to me for my birthday or Christmas. It'd be really fun to get a new Super Nintendo game, for turning 30. So, I might do that. I know that's kind of weird, but... Then lastly here we have some Sega Genesis items. A lot of these I have another video that I had already purchased some Sega Genesis games. A lot of these are already covered. And again, the primary issues here, I've already shot this video once. I'm very, very sorry. I don't want to say this all again. So that being said, let's take a look at the highlights. I got a Sega Genesis mouse and mouse pad. Mouse pad is still sealed. I wasn't aware that they had any titles. 3 buttons. I don't know. 3 buttons and another little button here. So 4 buttons on the mouse pad. ABC start probably. The games that I didn't highlight that I did get recently. Shadowrun. Shadowrun for the Sega Genesis is fantastic. I've played Shadowrun for the Super Nintendo on my stream before. Just imagine that, hey, there's this really weird property. You picked up a title when you're, 8, 9, 10, and it's called Shadowrun. It's it's the only cyberpunk thing you're aware of. You know what I mean? You don't get exposed to another cyberpunk thing for 6, 7 years. I did find a Shadowrun RPG book and a Shadowrun trading card game. 4, 5, 6 years later when I was in my early teens and did enjoy that. Once I got into the emulating scene, I played Shadowrun for the Sega Genesis. And it's a totally different game. The Super Nintendo version is kind of like a point-and-click adventure. This is an open-world RPG. It is fantastic. It's an action RPG, but it is so fantastic. The Super Nintendo one has merit. This is a much better game, though. There's no question about it. I got Mutant League Football, which is a big game I've been looking for a long time here. It's just a blast. So it's kind of a Madden clone, but it robots, aliens, monsters, and they fight and they can die. You don't even necessarily need to outscore your opponent. If they don't have any players left to play, you win. So Zombies Ate My Neighbors, fantastic game. I have it for the Super Nintendo. Genesis is slightly different. So I played the Sega Genesis version a lot as a kid. Sword of Vermilion. I got the book here online. It's one of my favorite games growing up. It's one of those RPG books that's really just a full walkthrough of the game because they didn't think Americans could handle RPGs. They thought they were going to be too complex. So that gets me a complete box. Sword of Vermilion. I got NHL Hockey. The hockey games for the Sega Genesis. The Sega Genesis sports games are pretty good. NHL 94 is apparently still played today. Is one of the better games. So give this bad boy a try here. I'm not a big fan of hockey. But, what are you going to do? And we'll run through these ones pretty quick here. I don't think any of these are going to be too unique. I think I've already showed these here. Oh, no, these two I did get. These aren't in the thing. I got Lion King for the Sega Genesis. I did not have a copy of that. I think I had that for Super Nintendo. Sonic Classics. I've never seen this one before, but it looks like it has 3 Sonic games. All right, we are going to do the last little bit of this video here. This is the 4th or 5th take. My Apple iPhone is just full and it's fantastic, and I've got it freed up now, so we should be able to finish this here. A lot of these were already covered in a different video. So Ren and Stimpy, Stimpy's Inventions. A lot of these Nickelodeon licensed platform games were pretty terrible. Sonic the Hedgehog. This is a higher quality copy of the one I have now. It'll be replacing the one I've got now. Did not have a copy of Mortal Kombat 1. Mortal Kombat 1 was a great game growing up as a kid. Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. When I was a senior in high school, my friend Stefan, he was like, hey man, we should play some Sega Genesis. And I was like, well, what do you mean, man? We got Xbox, you know, we got PlayStation 2, we got Xbox. What are you talking about? He's like, no, my guy, let's go pick up a Sega Genesis and play some Mortal Kombat. We got that. We did that. It was a lot of fun. So it was one of my first, you know, forays back into retro gaming outside of emulation as a teen. WWF Royal Rumble. A lot of the wrestling games for the 16-bit consoles are pretty fantastic. Altered Beast, must have for the Sega Genesis, very classic game. Bram Stoker's Dracula. In my other video here, I thought it was a more expensive game than it is. It's not, which is fine. The Adventures of Batman and Robin. The DC cartoons in the 90s were just excellent. So that's in that same line of games. We got Jeopardy here. What more do you need to say about Jeopardy? Sonic and Knuckles. I don't know what this top part is. I'm sure there's some, you know, functionality with other games and whatever. But John Madden Football 92. You know, I believe that's the one with the ambulance. If it's not, you know. And then we have some Marvel games. We have Spider-Man. We also have Spider-Man. We have Spider-Man and X-Men. And lastly, we have X-Men. Alright, so I've been having some problems with the iPhone. I'm recording all of my videos on an iPhone. And apparently delete does not mean delete as it relates to an iPhone. So I've been dealing with this for like an hour, trying to figure out, you know, I don't have any folder. I don't have a single picture in my pictures, yet my storage is full. It turns out delete means put in another folder to delete later when a human being... I hate you, Apple. I hate you so much. Here is a giant pile to me. I don't even freaking care about it anymore, to be honest. But here we go. We're going to look at some of the... I have a Shadow Blade arcade stick, which appears to be a PlayStation 1 arcade stick. I bought a Super Nintendo Classic Edition. I waited in line for 2.5 to 3 hours for it. I have what appears to be another Sega Genesis arcade stick. I have a Sega Master Stick control stick / arcade stick, so Sega Master System. I got a QuickShot NES controller in box. That's awesome. I had one of these QuickShots as a kid. I loved playing Top Gun on the NES with it. I played most of my NES games on that type of controller. I have a Psychopad hyper-programmable 10-in-1 control stick. Looks like it does Saturn, PlayStation, and Super Nintendo. It looks like I only have the PlayStation hookup for it at this time. I showed you that complete in box PlayStation 1 game control glove. I've got a Nintendo 64 arcade stick. I got a complete in box Sega Genesis at Fat Cat's Antiques in Fargo. Fantastic box. Got a PlayStation 1 in this lot as well. I got a PlayStation 3 controller charger. Got a Sega Genesis arcade stick. Sarah's plant. This little succulent here. I've got another Sega Genesis. This one's licensed by Sega here. Arcade stick. This one's very nice. Yet another Sega Genesis control stick here. I got a box for the vertical stand my PlayStation 2 is currently up on. I don't know if you can see the blue there, but that's on that. Let's zoom back out here. I had a PlayStation 1 arcade stick. If you didn't notice, I mostly got arcade sticks in this big lot I bought. I got this a while back. I totally forgot. I got it in a television Super Video Arcade system in the box. It's a little beat up, and I got some games for that. Dreamcast arcade stick. A PlayStation 1 arcade stick. A NES Advantage in the box. I also got this at the Fat Cat Antiques. So these are some of the support items I got for my, this was what I got, that big box of stuff. Most of it was these arcade sticks. I'm still running into storage issues for that. I don't quite know where I'm going to put them yet. So we'll get back to the last little bit of videos here, or the last little bit of video games now. So these are all of the pickup items that I got from the end of the summer here through the early part of fall. You know, it's about four months worth of pickups or so here. It's a lot of stuff. It's been sitting around far too long, and I'm excited to get it where it's supposed to be. So, thank you for bearing with me here. I swear the first take of this video was much better. You know, this will challenge me to use my editing skills a little bit here and see what we can do with that. So, looking forward to that. Hopefully have this video up next week. So, this is Eric from Fargo Retro here. Happy to show off my game collection. Thanking you for sticking around while I watching me pile some games about and make an ass of myself. If you like this, you know, comment, subscribe. You want to see me play any of this, or really any comment, any feedback whatsoever, be greatly appreciated. So, thanks for watching. Take care, everybody. Bye.